I'm going to go ahead and start the recording. Anyone who knows me, welcome to everyone that is joining us. Anyone that knows me knows that I am a big proponent of starting on time. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. And with that, I say welcome, 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 welcome. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. We know that everyone is grasping for your attention these days, right? So we have gone from having coffee to literally having virtual meetings around the clock. So we don't take it lightly that you all decided to join us this evening for Shift Happens, right? And so this evening, we are so excited to have you all. This is the beginning of us sharing with some and expanding with others in a business builder series. And we are on a mission and we've got a purpose. And so I'm going to just start off with some introductions here. For those that don't know me, my name is Cecilia Marlowe. I am with the Federal Savings Bank. I have been in the lending business with the Federal Savings Bank for 8 years, but overall I've been in the business since '03. So I've seen a few shifts, and I'm excited about what we're going to talk about this evening and to share with you guys what's happening in the market, because many of you have seen the shifts before, and then there are probably some of you who have not. And we want to help to make sure that, you know, we all stay grounded, but also that we're thriving in this environment. And so with that being said, I am a mom. I have learned in this shifting season that I am not a great 7th grade math teacher, and I'm going to stay in my lane and let my son do all his Zoom in with his teachers as well. I'm going to turn it over to Pam just to allow her to introduce herself. And then we also have Scott, who's also with the Federal Savings Bank. And then we've got a couple of our business partners who help us to make this possible, but also they just keep us sharp. And so we've got Eric, we call him affectionately EJ from Goosehead Insurance, and our other partner from Lakeland Title is not here with us this evening. But as we continue on with these conversations, you'll also get a chance to meet Rico. So with that being said, Pam, I'm going to turn it to you so that you can introduce yourself, and then we're going to jump right over to Scott.
Welcome, everybody. Thanks for coming out, giving us a few. Next time it'll be a happy hour one, but this is serious business this time. I'm just kidding. We're always on the 100, so it doesn't matter, but it would have been nice to have a cocktail. It is after 5 somewhere.
It is.
So a lot of you guys know me already. I've been in the business since 1998, and I definitely have seen some shifting. I think that this one's probably not as bad as we think, but it is a change, and it is going to affect us in a certain way that it's going to make us have a new normal. But as usual, we will adjust, and we will continue to give you guys positive, motivating things and tips to make it so that everybody knows we're going to make it through this. This is nothing new. That's all I got to say for now. I have some more tidbits later. Scott?
Hey, everybody. Thanks for showing up to this virtual event. It's pretty cool, you know, but I am Scott Majette. I've been at the bank for almost 3 years. October will be my 3rd year. I want to first thank you guys and my team. These guys really keep me abreast of everything that's going on. I really love CC, Pam, EJ, and Rico, so I really appreciate you guys. And I want to thank everybody for, again, for showing up. And I can't wait to share some positive information and then some outflow work that we should be doing right
now. EJ?
Hey, can you hear me now? All right. So once again, Eric Johnson, EJ. My sales discipline is insurance. I'm a independent broker. 2 other brokers with me. I've been in the business for about 20 years. My forte outside of risk management is coaching and developing businesses and business salespeople. So we'll speak a little bit to that, and one of the major components that we have to sharpen and be aware of so that we can perform in an optimal fashion. So back at you, CC.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. All right. So a couple of housekeeping rules. I got to move you guys to my other side so I can see. So everybody's on mute. Thank you for doing that without me having to ask you. We are recording this session so that it will be able to be used for our future. You can share it once we've actually finished and have the link. We'll share it with you, and you can feel free to share it with others as well. And then if you have questions as we are moving through, we will have a Q&A session towards the end. So please feel free to go ahead and type your question or type question in the chat, because we wanted this to also be interactive. So if you got a question, just type question in the chat. Pam is going to be watching the chat room for us as well. That is our housekeeping rule. So COVID-19, why are we here today? We've been hearing so many different things in the marketplace as to around COVID, right? And I want to take a moment to really say that my heart goes out to each and every family and individual who has been impacted, right? Because that part of life right now is can be overwhelming, right? I believe that most of us know someone or has close proximity to someone who's actually been impacted by this. And then with that, what we know is that some of the ways in which we are doing business has changed. Some things in business have changed. Some things are small, and you can choose to allow them to have a big impact, or we can choose to continue forward and to be the strong business leaders that we are. So we're here today really to just share with you all some of the things that have changed in the industry, and then to also make sure that we keep the most important tool that we have, which is our mindset, sharp and shifted. And so that's what we're going to discuss today. So I found this really cool quote, and it says, if you change how you think, you change your mindset. If you change your mindset, you change your behaviors. If you change your behaviors, you change your habits. If you change your habits, you change your outcomes. And if you change your outcomes, you change your life. So it's time for a shift, guys. And as we begin to share the information with you today, what we want you to keep top of mind is that this is a mind over matter. And so while some of the rules have changed and the guidelines have changed, what we know is that we are equipped to handle the change. So I'm going to turn it over to Eric, who's going to give us the mind over matter types of engagement at this time.
Okay, thanks, CC. So what I wanted to do before we start this conversation is to, some of you have heard me say this is all about framing and mindset and the way we choose, the power of choice to look at things. So today we sit here as not only business people and business women, we own businesses, we are salespeople, we are entrepreneurs. So looking at this and how we position ourselves as salespeople and entrepreneurs is key. Each one of us share that in commonality. And in addition to being people that are impacted by a particular thing that is outside of our control. And with that being said, when we're trying to perform and continue to overcome, what makes us different and what separates us? So a quick backdrop of who I am from a historical standpoint quickly is the three things that I draw from regularly in my consulting and my coaching is my professional football experience, my business experience of 20 years, and then my sales experience of coaching and training. One of the things that I've learned in football that translates to teams, because teams are teams regardless of the domain, people and the people dynamics, how we function, and the psychology is always apparent. So there's a psychology of sales. A lot of times people talk about sales EQ or sales IQ, or how do you manage disruptive emotions to perform. On the field, it's the same disruptive emotions that can arise in situations where you hear athletes are choke artists. or a person can't perform properly. But a champion knows that they're going to win, and that loser knows when they're going to lose. So what's the difference? What's the difference from Tiger Woods when he was so dominant and unstoppable, and his dominance and his tigerness per se, projected out into the point where his competitions were impacted by it and believed that they couldn't perform. What's the difference between that Tiger and the Tiger we saw years later? It was a mindset shift. I've been a conqueror on the field, and I've been conquered. What was the difference between those two people? It wasn't physical, it was mindset. What's the difference between another teammate that was a subpar receiver and then became a quite stellar receiver? It was mindset, it was belief. What is the difference that makes us move forward right now in this time is going to be our mindset. And with that being said, we acknowledge fully the conditions we're in. We acknowledge the imbalance, fear that exists. But what can we do? You can only control what you can control, right? And that's what you can control, what's in your hand. You can rely, secondly, on people as such as we're bringing together to galvanize each other, to control the messaging. And what we want to say today is that the sun will rise in the east, it will set in the west, and it's up to us to choose our mental attitudes and states. And as we choose our mental attitudes and states, and as we continue to perform, and it's not that the people who want to perform, it's the people who do perform, we as business people, we as salespeople can position ourselves in front of our customers to lead them, to care for them, and lead them out of this, to grab them by the hand and let them know that this is a great time to purchase. It is okay. Everything's going to be all right. And so as long as we keep our head about us, you see that in the scripture. So a man thinketh, so is he. You see it in poetry, in if you can keep your head about you. You see it in sports. It's a universal principle of mindset about us projecting imagery, messaging to combat what's going on. So what we want to do today is talk about we are overachievers. That's what salespeople are. We are dynamic salespeople, and we're going to take these principles of mindset, and then we're going to translate them into actionable items so that we can perform. So the shift that we've made right here is one of making sure that our mind is firm, understanding who you are, your faith, whatever you need to be grounded, leaning upon one another so that we can perform. And with that being said, we're going to go ahead and give some pertinent information that can be relayed to your clients. And we're going to go ahead and overcome this situation because that's what we are and what we do.
I mean, E, that was really good, brother. I think we should pass out a collection plate. The doors of the church are open.
Always, but I don't need the collection plate.
Okay, gotcha, brother. All right. That's awesome, man. That was great. That was motivating. So real quick, now that we are in this position and we know that everyone's being very conservative, the new credit scores that have come out from overlays and from our investors is 640 is the new 580. I know you guys enjoy sending us 580 clients, but guess what? We just changed to 640 now, okay? And then the reserves have changed from 1 to 6 months. Those are now 0 months reserves. So 640 and having reserves is really good for the clients right now, but we can no longer do that 580, 0 reserves and try to make it work and fix it out, okay? As far as our program changes goes, FHA 203K and our jumbo purchases, they have stopped that at the moment. We don't know when they will release it, but be on the lookout for updates from us via email or via video with underwriting tips of the week, underwriting tips of the day, because these guidelines are changing sometimes hourly and sometimes daily and sometimes weekly. Refinances, we have a lot of refinances going on, but it is case by case. Again, investors are being very conservative on their approach when it comes to our clients. One of the guideline changes that we were looking at, we wanted to talk to you guys about so many of these guideline changes, but right now it's just too many to share. But you can reach out to your individual business partner and talk about that. But we'll collaborate and send all you guys an email or video, let you know what guidelines that have changed and what you need to be doing moving forward with your clients.
You done?
No, I guess you want me to say. I can say your part, Pam. You want me to say it?
No,
I
I
can
didn't
say
know.
it.
You know, like, here you go, Pam.
Oh,
Back to you. Back to
hey,
you.
coming to you, Pam.
Clearly, you have not looked at the news and whatever. It's okay. Before we start, I do want to read something that really resonated with me today, and I hope that you guys feel like I do. It says, remember the importance of projection. If you focus on your fears about the future, you project that out into the universe, unknowingly giving it momentum. Instead, project success, abundance, and happiness out. Manifestation then becomes a lot easier. Your thoughts are creating your reality right now. Okay? So, the reason that we are all here is because we care about our community, our realtors, our buyers. We care about everybody that's on this call. We decided to collaborate with each other. We're all on different teams. We're not in competition with each other. Some of us run into you guys on the buyer side, listing side, whatever. We're just here to kind of make sure that everybody's taken care of and understands the process, okay? It's funny that before COVID-19 hit, I had made a statement to Scott that I'm done with these buyers that with these 580s and these no money down and want to get a down payment assistance program because they're very, very difficult, okay? And I projected and I put into the universe that I was going to have people who had over 680 credit scores, people who had their down payment, people who had their reserves, because they're going to be a lot easier. And I'm sure there's many of you on this call that know those are the type of clients that we need to strive for. Our community is really behind the times when it comes to being prepared. We're just not prepared. And it's costing us stress, and we're getting less work done because we're hand walking them through every process. This process is hard enough as it is without having to tell them, no, you got to get a cashier's check. No, you got to do this. I mean, it's just a lot of babying, okay? So I decided that I was going to put in the universe that I wanted a better set of clientele. That's just what I want, okay? Now, of course, we're not going to turn our back on somebody who's a 620, 630, or even a 600, you know? Maybe a 580 if I can see what's on their credit report that's able to be restored, okay? And that's what we have these credit boosters for. So the credit boosters that we know to work, we will provide for you guys in an email as well, okay? But there's rental boosters, there's secured credit cards, there's things that they can do that will reflect on their credit reports in the next 10 days. Now, I'm not trying to help that. I'm not trying to do that for someone who's got late pays last month, okay? Because if they're late pay last month, they probably won't pay their mortgage, okay? So it's kind of like a case-by-case basis that we want to try to look at that. You know, if it's your cousin, your uncle, or your sister, or your brother, and you know, and you can vouch for them, and you say, hey, Pam, can you help them out? Can you get them to where they need to be? That's a different story. But as a general rule, we want to try to get a better clientele, okay? We want to try to educate them more. We want them to take that stimulus money and use it as their part of their down payment, especially if they're still working. It's a lot of people that got the stimulus check and they have a job, okay? So that's savings for them, okay? They need to rework their budgets. You know, this stay at home has taught me so much in terms of how I'm saving money. I still got the same $40 in my wallet that I had on March 15th when they told us to stay home, okay? Because I'm not going anywhere. I'm not spending any money. I saw a meme that said, you know, people gas zero, or something else zero, shopping zero, you know, clothes shopping. But groceries, $1,600. That's probably about right, especially if you got boys like EJ. He got football players in his house. I only have one. Okay. So basically people just need to sacrifice. They need to learn how to do things. You know, if they're really serious about buying a home, they need to act like they're serious. Okay. A lot of people are used to us being able to provide renovation loans. That's not something that we can't do, but it's just something that we're working on a solution for right now. We do still have a portfolio product that I'd be happy to discuss with you guys offline that we might be able to do on a case-by-case basis. Refinances, you know, how does that help you guys? It puts the clients right back in our pocket. You may be calling to check on them just to get some more referrals, and they might say, hey, I'm thinking about refinance. Send them to us. We're taking care of them every day. So, you know, I just want you guys to just know that we understand that shift happens. And once that happens, we have to, like EJ said, change our mindset. We just have to know that it's not the end of the world, that this is going to get better for us. Everything is all good. I mean, and I keep, oh my goodness, Siri's talking to me. I said seriously or something, right? So anyway, with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Cecilia, and we'll take some questions afterwards.
Wonderful. So as we're starting to talk about shift happens and the things that we can begin to do to shift and in reality, like what are things that we can do today, like right now, to begin to better position not only ourselves as the professionals that we are, but also the teams and the clients that we want. So we have a few ideas for you. Number one, write down your ideal client. So I love what Pam just said in terms of, you know, last year she put it into the universe that, hey, her ideal client was a 680 credit score with reserves. One of the things that I have learned is that you have to be very specific with your request. So the only thing that I would add to that, Pam, is and they're ready to buy in 30 days or less.
Right.
So write down your ideal client. I think this is really a great time for us to sit down and to kind of think about, you know, who are the clients that we want to work with, and then who are other people in the industry that may not necessarily want to work with the same types of clients that we do, but maybe there's a relationship that can be formed there that will allow you to, you know, do referral business with each other if someone else has an ideal client type that might not be yours. The second thing is write down your VIP standard of service. You know, who's on your team, right? So my grandmother used to always say to me, show me your 5 closest friends and I'll show you who you are. And if there has not been any time more true, it has been during this time that I look at the people that I'm talking to on a consistent basis who are helping to shape not only, you know, the conversations that I'm having, but the actions that I'm actually taking in my business. So, you know, you want to ask yourself, who's on your team? You know, who is your lender partner? Who is your insurance partner? Who are your attorneys? Who are the title companies that you're working with? And what value are they adding? Are you guys holding each other accountable to the type of business that you want to have? And if you're not, the other thing my grandmama used to say is, if you don't pluck the weeds early, they will take over the garden. So this is the time to start plucking the weeds, okay? How many homes do you want to show your ideal client? I know that many of the real estate partners that I have, you know, get frustrated after they show 7 houses. Like, that's it, right? And are there some clients that you all will need to show more houses to? Yes, but what's the max? Is it 20? If the client hasn't seen 20 by the time they've seen 20, are they not your ideal client? So, you know, is that something that you can begin to think about? And then what do you need to put in place today to level up your business? Do you have a buyer process? Do you have a seller process? Do you have a minimum phone call, text, email, handwritten cards that you are doing right now? Because the activity that you are showing right now is actually going to help and really determine what's going to happen in the next 90 days. So the last thing that I will humbly ask on behalf of, you know, every banker that I know, please stop selling down payment assistance. As the professionals, as the money people, as your money sources, what we find is that oftentimes the difference between the person that is actually ready to buy right now and the one that waits is because they are looking and trying to find the pie in the sky down payment assistance program. Pam, I think or Scott shared that we're going to send you a packet of information after today's call. What I can share with you is that we have great down payment assistance programs, but we are also professionals. So with every client that we're working with, we're actually analyzing their financials to figure out what is the best program for them. So right now, I'll give you a little teaser. We have a $30,000 down payment assistance program. It is a very niche product. It is for a very specific client wanting to move into a very specific area. And I bet that you didn't know we had $30,000 in a down payment assistance program. We don't tell you guys all the time, because then you go tell all the clients we got $30,000, and then all of them are trying to get $30,000 and they can't get it. So then that then begins to become a hamper, or it dampens their spirit, right? So leave the money part to us. We'll leave the housing up to you, okay? And all of that is really to do three things. We want you to protect your mind, your time, and your dime, period, right? And we think that you're also the ones that are helping us to protect our mind, our time, and our dime. So there are a lot of great programs. I think that one of the things that I would, before we open it up for Q&A, is, for anyone that's been in the business for a while, we are really, just going back to the way things were probably 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, when credit scores were a little bit more in line with what a financially responsible buyer looked like. So I don't think it's all bad news. I think we're actually doing a great, great service to our community and to our customers by helping them to be financially prepared and financially ready, by setting the standards, right? And allowing them to now move the needle forward for their own financial future. So with that.
Hey, Cece, can I interrupt you real quick?
Yes.
I just wanted to say something. You guys said some great things, but just a real quick point is I think my team knows that I'm a big stickler when it comes to coaching. So we need some quick ideas. Here's just one. This is a great time to call your past clients. Like Cece said, how many daily phone calls are you making? Like, you need some just quick coaching tips or some quick things to do to get the ball rolling. Good time to pull in your database, see what all your past closed clients that you did, call and check up on them and ask for the business. This is a good time to do that because everybody's at home and they're going to answer the phone, and it's good. And I get so many people say, thank you for calling and checking in on me. Yeah, sure, I will help you, because you guys have that relationship with your clients. So for one, just go back to your database, reach out to your past clients and see what you can get from that. That'll be a great start to get some big and better leads out there.
Wonderful. So
go ahead, Cece.
I was just going to say that we're going to open it up for Q&A. And I want to actually open the Q&A with how is everyone feeling? Like, how are you feeling about the market? How are you feeling about real estate? How are you feeling about, what are you hearing from buyers and from sellers? So I am going to ask that if you would go over to the chat box and then if you would unmute yourself. I can't see everybody without closing out my screen here. But I would love for anyone to, just kind of share with us how you're doing, how you're feeling, what you're feeling about the market, along with any other lender question that you may have specific to what we've shared this evening.
So if you guys have a question, just go ahead and, matter of fact, you don't even have to type the question in, just type in, I have a question, and then I'll call on you. You can unmute, and then we can go ahead and have a conversation about it. But you got to hit me in the chat box so I know. Annette Shelton has a question. Go ahead, Annette.
Okay, so I didn't have a question, but I think Cece said, how are you feeling? And I have to tell you guys, well, first of all, this year will be 17 years. So I've seen a little bit. One of the things that Scott said, that's on point. And first of all, I want to say my hat's off to each and every one of you guys. So professional, great tips, and great information. But Scott, as for agents, you said it. Call everybody in your database. So when we first started this, which I think I started on the 10th of March, because somebody gave me something that, thank God it wasn't COVID, but I got sick. So I said, I'm going to be at home. Let me just get on the phones. And you guys know me. That's my biggest thing, is I got to call my clients. I got to call my past clients. So I started out hitting about 30 people a day. So overwhelming that I had to scale it back. So I'm calling 20 people. And then I have a follow-up. It's a follow-up text, because I'm going to call you one time, but I'm going to keep texting you. And you would not believe how many people in your database that, need, housing. And I didn't go in asking about housing. I just asked, how are you doing? Is your family okay? Who do you know that need help with anything? I got people from, we need food, to somebody asked me to buy Mary Kay, to, just whatever. And I did a lot of things. And people that see me on Facebook, we did food for the senior citizens and so many other things. But, you have to give in order to get. So I'm feeling really optimistic. I'm really ready I hadn't even finished calling all of my past clients. So I'm like, wait a minute, I need another week. Let's don't open it up yet. Because I have listings that are selling, virtual showings, guys. We have to learn. I'm old school. I think I'm old school. But we have to learn Zoom. Thank you for this, guys. We have to learn Zoom. We need to learn how to do virtual showings on FaceTime with your clients. Got a contract with a buyer, cash buyer, that did a virtual showing with a seller. So I'm busy, but you have to make busy, okay? You have to make money. You got to make the calls. How long are you going to be watching Netflix? I'm sick of TV. I don't even turn my TV on anymore. I'm sick of TV. So let's start doing things like this, feeding our mind. EJ said, that's the first thing, is the mindset. Feed our minds. There's a reason that God has us here. So I'm going to shut up, because I could keep going. I'm not on the panel. But my question is this. That's how I'm feeling, guys. I'm amped up. I'm really ready to just push this thing as hard as I possibly can, because we're stuck for 2 months. So what are you going to be doing now? You're behind the 8 ball if you don't do anything right now. You got to try to play catch up. So when this open up, you want to continue to be busy and have your pipeline full of deals that are closing and money that's coming in. I don't know about you guys. Who got a stimulus check this week?
Not me.
Thank you. Exactly. So,
which is a good thing. It's a good thing, but it's not a good thing, because we're motivated, because we're 100% commission. So thank you, Annette. That was very insightful. I hope you guys got something out of that. Elijah, you're up next.
Okay, I'll come back with my question. Thanks.
All right.
Oh, you had a question?
I got a question. And this is something I really I don't know how to explain this. And Pam, you kind of talked to me about it. What's up with the 740 credit score that Chase is pushing out? What's going to be? Is this a new norm? What's going on?
So the real deal with that is they don't really want to do anybody but a standard conventional 20% down. So their whole guideline is 740, 20% down. They will not be doing any FHA. They will be not be doing any home ready. They won't be doing anything that's not conventional. Old school, 20% down. Okay.
That's what we have to teach. Thank you.
Elijah?
Yeah. Hello, you all. How you all doing this evening?
All right, and you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. Just wanted to say I'm feeling very optimistic that we'll come out of this better than what we went into it, because it's forcing us to be able to think more about the stuff that we need to do, to be able to generate business in a creative manner, to be able to utilize technology more. The face-to-face is great, but at this point in time, now we have to come with some unconventional ways to be able to still have that same method to occur and still be able to get some business to happen. whether it's selling a property or whether it's helping somebody buying a property, and also communicating with the various loan officers out there about the programs that their banks might have, or the way that they're shifting them to different programs that sometimes when buyers like 580, I might not at this point in time qualify, but as you said earlier, Pam, you still work with those buyers, but you just want to have a clear path to be able to know that that's going to get going, process, and close.
Right. Right. Well, thank you very much, Elijah. Shay? Shanice. I know it's two Shays on here.
Shaughnessy.
Shaughnessy.
Yes, my question is, I deal with a lot of buyers, and I do some work with Redfin, and of course Redfin has their requirements, but one is when I do my assessment of the buyer's readiness, I oftentimes hear them say that they are waiting because they're paying off some bills. And my pushback to them is, okay, what are you paying off and how do you know you're paying the right thing? Because people think they're paying something and I don't even know what their logic stream is for what they're paying. But I wanted to get some suggestions from the lenders in that regard. When you meet a buyer who is preparing themselves, getting ready, and they come back with that kind of, I'm paying off something, and it's not based on any logic, because I know as lenders, you all can look and tell us or tell the buyer what they should pay off and what will bring their score up quicker.
Right. So we have some tools that we utilize when we run their credit, but if you're getting this pushback before they even reach us, then my suggestion to you would be, well, let's see what you qualify for. Let's let the experts tell you what needs to be paid off because a lot of times they pay off something that they didn't need to pay off, and it takes away from their down payment because they might have paid off a credit card that wasn't even what was causing their credit score not to be where it needed to be. And a lot of times they're relying on Credit Karma and these individual credit score modules that aren't even the same as what we use, because in the mortgage industry, our credit module is totally different than if you go buy a car. So you're not going to get the same score that you get on some of these other vehicles. So they need to understand, we need to run your credit so we can see if you meet the criteria on our module. And then we have tools where we can say, what if I do this? If I have this much money to pay off bills, where should I put this? And those things, we're able to create those for them and give them rescores. And it's part of the rapid rescore, or they can actually pay it off and report it to Credit Karma themselves and still be able to, we can just re-pull their credit. So I would definitely, as a realtor, tell them, I think that you might want to talk to a lender first so that we can be prepared so that you do not spend any unnecessary money.
Hey, Pam, can I add value to that too?
Yes.
Pam is so right with that. But here's another thing. Maybe you should add in that objective first when you're doing your vetting, right? So it's like, hey, listen, you may be paying some bills off. You say you're not ready. You may be doing this and this and this, and you give them what they probably are about to say to you. Mm-hmm. Secondly, put the objective out there first, so then they already know you're the professional. They're not. You are. So put the objective out there first, and then bring it back around to us.
That's good.
I'm gonna tag team one last thing for that. What I know is that people are, and this is all people, we're motivated by pain or pleasure. One or two things, most of us, right? And inside of that, I think sometimes we almost, because the pleasure part of me paying my bills off is that I'll have less debt going into this mortgage, right? And so logically it makes sense. But the pain part of that is that I have actually had a young lady that had a 740 credit score with no debt that I could not get a DU approval for because there was nothing on the credit report to pull from to show that she was actually making payments on. So now I could turn a 740 credit score scenario into a nightmare, just like I can turn a 580 credit score. So that is a great reason to also share with people that you got to talk to a lender, because the lender is going to tell you exactly step by step what to do. Now, of course, I was able to have that buyer to go ahead and use a credit card, and within 30 days there was activity and we had to go back in and pull credit. But imagine somebody with a 740 credit score where I couldn't get a conventional approval on. And she had done all the quote unquote right things.
Mm-hmm. Right. She paid off everything. And then what happens is people don't realize this. Installment debt does not move your credit. You must have revolving credit in order for your score to go up and down. And you have to utilize that line in order for them to know it. So when you pay it off to zero and it's no activity on it, then you have a dormant account. So it's not helping you. So, and a lot of people say, oh, I need to pay all my bills off. I might tell you you need to pay your bills off so you can afford the house you want, but it's not because you're trying to improve your credit so much, unless you're maxed out on everything. So that's basically, things that you guys need to be able to, we'll take them, but like Scott said, I really love that, Scott, that you said that they can just like act like they're reading their minds and just tell them up front, you might want to do this, just like they slide in about the furniture. You might want to furnish your house now, but that's not a good idea while you're buying a house. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Gia.
Hello. Hey, Cecilia.
Hey, Gia. Gia is actually
nice seeing you
in Atlanta.
I know. Have one buyers by way of Chicago.
Yay.
Hey, it was nice meeting everybody. I had to think of a question, but I think I would say I wasn't feeling very confident. I guess I'm kind of feeling a little less worried now that I'm starting to hear more lenders kind of talk through things. I guess my question is, a couple of questions that I have is, are you guys having to pull clients' credit again just to make sure that they're still can qualify? And I think you guys mentioned with the 640 potential of reserves. So are they having to also show reserves the 640 scores, or is it really still like case by case basis that they may have to show reserves?
That's going to be on it's going to be dependent upon the credit score and the product. So where we're seeing the reserves come in a lot more now is, whereas before, let's say on an FHA 2-unit purchase, a client wouldn't necessarily need reserves. But if a client is buying an FHA 2-unit at this juncture, now, if they don't have a certain credit score, then they are needing several months of reserves, or they can't use their rental income to qualify, right? They can only use a portion of the rental income, and they've decreased that significantly. So, I think that as the real estate professionals, as you all are out there and you're working with different clients, if there are situations that come up that are, if it's not a standard single family, FHA or conventional 3% down type of, we probably want to be in more conversation around, the type of financing that the borrowers are doing. I know that for the most part, we have a pre-approval RX form that we send out that kind of gives you the layout in terms of what the person qualified for, how much they need in closing costs. We won't tell you their credit score, but if there's anything that you need to be aware of as you're writing that contract up, then definitely we're sharing that information with you. If a client had less than a 640 credit score when we initially started the process, or when we pre-approved them, one of the things that we've been doing also, collectively, is we're going back through our pipeline and we're re-approving clients. So we're either letting them know that they're solid where they are, or in some cases, we are needing to update the credit to make sure that it is reflective of what the new norms are.
So there's one thing that I do want to add to this, to make sure everybody understands about this forbearance that we're dealing with right now. a lot of people are under the misnomer that this is a good thing. It's never a good thing for a lender. So if you have clients that are renting right now and they are not paying their rent, it could come up to bite them later because there will be no rent history. Okay, so they need to continue to pay their rent. If they're buying a building and that person had people and that person was in forbearance and they weren't collecting rent, that could be a problem as well. They may not be able to count that rental income unless they have 6 months reserves and a 700 FICO score. There's so many different, that's why everything is like case by case, but everything that glitters ain't gold, okay? And people are trying this forbearance with the misunderstanding that this is going to be forgiven, la-di-da-di-da-di-da, when some of them are telling them straight up, even when they get on the phone, that this forbearance is good for these 90 days, but at the end of this 90 days, you're going to have to pay this back, or you're going to have to qualify for a modification. Well, if you just did it just because, you're not going to qualify for the modification. Your credit's going to get messed up. If we see a mortgage history and you're getting ready to refinance and you signed up for the forbearance, you're not getting a mortgage. You're not getting a refinance. So these are things that, just in talking to people, these are things like I always tell my realtors, please ask them their bankruptcy status, ask them their foreclosure status, ask them their employment status, okay? We can't do anyone who's on unemployment. Nobody. Okay, they have to go back to work. If they go back to their same job, they just need to be on it. That's it. We don't even need a check stub. If they go to a new job, we got to have 2 check stubs. So, if you have any questions about individual scenarios, reach out to one of us. We'll be able to, walk you through it. I don't want to take up that much time. Michelle, you had a question?
I didn't have a question. I was just agreeing with Annette about call everybody right now, because if you wait until after we get out, then you're going to sound like you're greedy for business. Like then you didn't care about them and they're going to wonder where you were when they were having trouble. So this is the perfect time to call out for anyone. And I just want to clarify that I heard you right. If someone's on unemployment right now and then they go back to their current job, it's just like they always worked.
Right. So
Okay.
one of the deals that I'm doing right now, I actually know his return date because they were furloughed until May 4th. So I put the whole deal through. They were in the middle of the purchase when it started. They had just signed the contract and he got furloughed. And I reached out to underwriting to clarify this. And as long as he goes back to his job, he does not have to have a paycheck. I went ahead and pushed everything through, appraisal, everything. And all we have to wait on for the funding and the clear to close is that he gets something from his job saying he's returned back to work.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Linda? No, Linda Rhodes is gone. Shannon Welch?
Hey, I typed it in the chat. I just said right now it's in my opinion, it's survival of the fit and the professional. Either you know what you're doing and you have gathered some tools and some leverage and you're studying, you're educating yourself, you're reaching out to your database, and you're keeping in contact with wonderful partners like yourself so that you can stay educated and you know more than the next person. There's a lot of rumors out there. There's a lot of chaos, and we're the professionals and people look to us to guide and lead. And, when people call and email, it's my job to lead and guide, and I like control. That's how we make money. If I don't have control, I can't close the deal and I can't make money. So as long as you are doing that, you will definitely be here to win, because I'm hoping to break some records this year with the rest of you all and come back even stronger and make up for these 2 months of chaos and double our bank accounts. And I'm paying everybody the bare minimum because I need to keep my credit in order. So when they do get back on track, you can still do what you need to do and make moves.
Right.
So I
Well,
think
Shay, you
great tips.
do a great job, Shay, of representing the realtors, the lenders, and everybody else with all the things that you do out there in the community, and we thank you for that. And I know you've been put at risk by doing some of these things, and we appreciate you. And thanks for all you do all year round, not just because it's COVID-19. So thanks, Shay.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
Mhm. I don't see any more in the chat box. If I miss somebody, just unmute yourself. Not everybody at once, but we still have a few more minutes if you guys wanna anybody has anything they want to say or any tip that you might want to give to your fellow realtors to, that has been working for you.
You know what, Pam, I got something I want to say about being prepared for the next level. Like we're talking about COVID, being stuck at home with these dirty, junky kids. You got a lot of stuff going on, right? So, but once we get out of this, you're going to have 12 months worth of business to fit in 5 months. So you might as well get your stuff together right now, get disciplined. There's a quote where everybody said a quote today, and I didn't have one, so I had to Google one real quick, right? So there's a quote, and it's so perfect, and it says, in life, you're gonna suffer. You either suffer the pain of discipline or you suffer the pain of regret. Let's not regret what we could have done now in the future, right? So let's just get it rocking and rolling. Let's keep it popping. Let's keep our positive energy going. I don't know what else to say about what else is going on with COVID-19, but we got this, guys. We love each and every last one of you. We appreciate you guys so much. Y'all don't have to be here with us. And I just wanted to give you guys a round of applause too, because we really appreciate y'all working with us, sending us leads, getting these things done, and trusting us to get this stuff done. So we really appreciate you guys. Love you guys from the bottom of our hearts.
Yep.
That was so beautiful.
Hi, Pam. This is Monique. I just wanted to say thank you to everybody. I'm a relatively new real estate agent. I haven't even been in the game for a year yet.
Mm-hmm.
But Pam has been really great with supporting me and helping me with some of my clients. And I'm very positive and thankful for this time. I'm putting checklists together. And I've had a buyer. I've had a listing and a buyer. So I'm putting my checklist together so I know what to do the next time. So when all the business comes, I can just roll with my checklist. So things like this is really, really nice. And I'm glad to have met all of you and hope to get a chance to work with some of you more.
That's great, Monique. Thank you so much. I mean, because this whole thing is, I started to say this earlier, it's about collaborating. We want you guys to be successful. We want you guys to make whatever adjustments need to be made for you to be successful. This collaboration is because we care. And when you care, you'll do, see, Scott, you ain't right. Because you care, because we care about each other, we want everybody to really be successful. And we got to stop looking at the negative. I've always been a half full versus half empty type person. And this is nothing but just a little step here. I saw something on Facebook earlier. It says, we are warriors, not worriers. And that is so awesome. I mean, to think that, we're out here fighting every day. And there's a lot of people sitting at home worried about how they're going to pay their bills, how they're going to do this. We got this, you guys. And thank you, Scott, for everything you said. Thank you, Cecilia. Thank you, EJ. Thank you, every realtor who spoke. I mean, I think this was a great session, and we plan on doing this, I believe, every 2 weeks, CC?
Yeah,
that is correct.
Yeah,
right.
So get your quotes together, guys. Get your quotes in.
And if you know other realtors that need to participate, or everybody sometimes looks at this stuff, and this isn't direct mail sales or anything. This is business building, and a lot of people look at this as drip campaigns and stuff like that. But this is to help build you guys, and we're not going to stop doing it. I don't care if it's 5 people or 45 people. We're going to do the same thing for everybody, because this is how we do it. You know, we're not here just for one day. We're here to make sure that everybody is successful. We appreciate you guys.
So our next session, you will be notified about that. As we move forward, now that we've kind of laid some foundational information together in terms of, okay, so here's kind of the baseline in terms of guidelines. As we move forward, we will, begin to have some real business conversations as it relates to structures, as it relates to the things that we can be doing. I heard a couple people say digging into your past clients and being in communication. We've got some cool apps and some cool tips to share with you guys. And so we're just beginning to kind of put some things together to share with you to help you to, even be even better, bigger, and bolder than you already are, because we already know that you're rock stars. So be sure to look out for two things. We're going to send you an email with kind of a highlight of the guideline changes that we shared with you this evening. But then we're also going to give you a little bit more information around the down payment assistance program that we talked about tonight. It is very specific. 95% of your clients are not going to fit into it, but we want you to be armed with the information in terms of, who can qualify for it. But then the other piece is we're going to also set up the next call, and we're going to ask you guys to complete a survey such that we know, what topics are most important and most relevant to you right now. Okay. So we do thank you all for joining us on this evening. We know that you have all of our contact information in terms of whomever invited you. And so thank you so much, everybody that has shown up this evening. EJ, you wanna come take us home?
Oh, well, absolutely. So once again, we thank you as a group for your participation. We thank you as Central Partners. Remember, everything that we do as far as mentality, approach, is real estate centric and realtor centric. In addition to that, some of the things that we alluded to as far as bringing information that's practical, that will be able to find out particularly where you are, what you need. And just remember, we're here, we're a phone call away. This team here is actually designed in such a way to give you increased capacity. Everybody who's on this team has quite a bit of business acumen, sales acumen. And with that being said, a lot of times we just need to lend that and give you the capacity to grow. So thank you. Stay positive, stay healthy, and let's keep driving. Pound the phones, pound the videos, face to face is the way to go right now. Take it easy.
And tell your friends. Tell your other realtor friends.
Yes, all of them. Thank you, guys. Thank you, CC. Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, every last one of you guys. We love you guys.
All right, bye.
All right.
Guys, have a good evening.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Have a good night.
Good night.